This radio show might make you cry, will probably make you angry, will most assuredly make you laugh, and is guaranteed to make you think. 3-6 Nation Radio, where no topic is too hot, no take is too cold, with Monica Livingston. 3-6 Nation Radio, in 3, 2, 1.
3-6 Nation Radio. Monica Livingston.
You are ridiculous. Ivan is back.
We are here.
Ivan's back.
Like from the dead.
Yeah.
I have risen.
Man, I'm so glad you're feeling better.
I'm ready. I'm taking it on. I'm taking on the world.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody on Facebook Live.
What?
Hi, everybody. ListenVisionLive.com. Hi, Ivan. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Feeling better?
I feel so good. So I got the flu. Apparently, this
I
is
was
the
worried
worst
about
flu
that
season
flu.
in America.
Yeah.
Like the whole country is just
I
melting
was
down.
glad, I was rooting for you to feel better, but I'm glad you kept your tail where you were.
I thought I would.
You know, people dying from that
I
flu.
thought
That's
I
that,
would
That's
come.
that new flu.
And as soon as I stood up, everything just like fell out.
Yeah, that's
Like,
an extra flu. That flu.
Yeah, they got letters and numbers in it. It's like H794 M2.
Anytime you get over 3,
Yeah.
it's medical. That's dangerous.
I got the flu shot too.
It
didn't even work.
No, that's what they gave you. They gave you.
It was a primer.
Yep, it was
They were
in there,
tracing.
yep.
They see. Listen, the CIA has been doing this.
Here we go.
It's not. I'm kidding.
Here
I love
we
you
go.
guys.
Do you? All right, we got a show lineup today. I am very, very happy. We have Ricky Vaughn in the building. Give it up for Ricky Vaughn. Studios. Hey, Ricky Vaughn is running for the Senate seat from Maryland.
Against who?
Who cares?
Against.
I guess-
there's only 2 senators.
You'll
All right, we're gonna
find out
talk.
all that.
We're gonna talk about.
I know you can't wait for
I
this.
can't.
This
I'm
is politics.
itching.
You
I'm
guys
itching.
know how Ivan is. This is his thing. So this is like a welcome back gift for him
You
that
guys
I
shouldn't have. You really shouldn't.
that I
have.
booked Ricky for you. But Ricky has an amazing story. So he's going to be talking to us during our community spotlight segment. We also have Jonathan Bam Rivers. He has a new book out called Rivers Logic. He's going to be calling in from the ATL. And so we'll get Jonathan on the phone here soon. So, yeah, let's pay some bills and come back with some news stories, right?
Boom, boom. I'm excited. We
All
got
right.
a lot of interesting things happening in
Oh,
the
I
world.
mean,
you don't even know. You don't
it's-
even know.
It's almost exhausting.
Welcome to 2018, friends.
All right, this 3-6 Nation Radio. Do not go anywhere at all. Let's pay some bills, Jacob.
Thought about launching a broadcasting career? Think you have what it takes to become a broadcasting professional? Learn the skills that will make people want to tune in. Join Monica Livingston, radio personality and owner of 3-6 Nation, for a career development workshop on what it takes to be a radio DJ, sportscaster, and news anchor. Find out how the former DC diva and owner of 3-6 Nation manages her own live internet radio show. Sign up for a workshop today where Monica doesn't just share broadcasting tools. She puts you on the air.
Come on, hustle. Get your head in the game. Come on.
Are you setting the right example for your kids?
Are you even trying? The ball's down there. What are you doing? You need to get some confidence.
Come on, hustle up, get up there.
Reviewing last year, ad revenue has declined 15%.
Come on, get your head on straight.
Before your child's next game, ask yourself, how would you like it if they copied your behavior?
There are many ways which we can improve.
That's for sure. You need to get some confidence.
Positive Coaching Alliance has valuable tips and tools to help our kids perform their best while keeping sports enjoyable for everyone. Their development zone is a great resource for parents like us. Positive Coaching Alliance, creating better athletes, better people. Learn more at positivecoach.org/Fox Sports.
Here at Lucky's, We see things differently and we invite you to do the same. With a visual thrill of 8 high-definition screens measuring 6 feet by 8 feet, complemented by an additional 15 HD TV plasma screens at 50 inches, you won't miss a beat, play, or pitch. That's over 50 million pixels of rich high-definition action, allowing you to immerse yourself in a sports experience like no other. While you're here, if it's your appetite that needs satisfying, feast on a meal that only Lucky's can create. Prepared daily, our fresh and diverse selection of dishes are assured to please the most difficult critic. And if that's not enough, try hitting our 3,000 square foot game room and jump full tilt into the latest and greatest interactive experiences. Track your gameplay every time you return, and you can also earn exclusive Lucky's rewards. All this entertainment is backed by a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience, which is why you'll soon understand that Lucky's is more than just luck. Be sure to visit Lucky's Sports Theater at 7027 Manchester Boulevard in Alexandria, Virginia.
We are back, 3-6 Nation Radio. I'm Ivan Edward Woner. This is Monica Livingston.
You forgot my D, Monica D. Livingston.
What does the D stand for?
Well, that's not. I don't.
Dope.
My man.
If you are watching us right now, I want you to go on Twitter, hit us up at 36 Nation, number 36, the word nation, or at 3_6_ nation on Instagram. For you people who do that, there are photos and things and likes and tweets. We got news. And I don't know if you have recently felt like your entire insides have just popped themselves out of their back end. But if you're living in Hawaii or Japan, you might have gotten a text message that did just that. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah. How could I not? Oh,
Woo!
yeah. 3-6 Nation
Throw the news.
Get the news music, Jacob.
3-6 Nation News. The DMV's number one source for the hot topics and current news of the day.
The news of the day.
That's right. And yesterday, last week.
We have a nuclear war, apparently. Not false alarm. False alarm. I want to
Psych.
read the actual text
Psych.
message that you received if you were a resident of the great state of Hawaii. Quote, in all caps, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter, period. This is not a drill, period.
People were running.
Can you imagine? Like I set up alerts on my phone for Guam and Hawaii.
Of course you did,
because
Ivan.
I
Why
just
am
want
I
to know.
not
Because
even
I want to
surprised
know.
by that?
I want an extra 7 minutes of flee time because they don't know if it's gonna hit Hawaii or they're like
Right.
overshooting to
Right,
US
right.
to like DC.
Sure.
Because we're here. So I said what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my alarms to have like FEMA alerts that happen in Guam or
Brilliant.
Hawaii.
Brilliant.
So if it happens there first, and they're like, we should tell Hawaii, but don't tell everybody.
Right.
Like, I know first, right? So I woke up, missile threat inbound. This is not a drill. And I went,
What did you
I
do?
don't know.
Well,
what
you were
to
still
do.
sick,
I
so
was sick.
you were already
I
dying.
couldn't do anything.
Right, you just laid there.
I have a
prayed.
bag. I
Jesus.
carry a bag with me with radioactive iodine pills, with like
Wait a
bottled
minute.
water.
Is this part of the shtick? Is this
No, I have it. It's in my
Oh.
bag.
Hold on a second. Don't say that again.
You
What
have
the
to.
hell is wrong
You
with
have
you?
because the National
You
Institute
got your
of Health.
Y2K bag.
I
also,
do.
flashlights
I
and
do.
batteries.
There's thermal blankets in there, right? Beef jerky, a lot of beef jerky.
That's okay.
And this is why.
I'm
National
messing with
Institutes
you,
of
but
Health
something happens. I'm gonna be
had
like this.
a
Ivan, where are you?
emergency-
I'm on my way. Okay.
Pick up your phone. Pick up your phone. You said 38 minutes. 38 minutes. So this happens on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. Tuesday, it happened again in
wait a minute.
Japan.
How did I miss that?
This is the kicker.
Tuesday.
Because if you're very local, you're very American. If you're from Japan, this came out, the NHK News Alert. North Korea likely to have launched missiles. Government J alert. Evacuate inside the building or underground. Later, about 10 minutes later,
Right.
the news broadcaster comes out and says,
Psych.
the news alert sent earlier was a mistake. No alert has been issued. Now, fool me once,
Right.
shame on your
Right.
technology. Fool me twice, North Korea hacked your comm system. Okay?
Should we be nervous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in the Iraq war, one of the first Gulf War, one of the tactics that we developed was how to get inside people's minds.
Right,
There's a division called PSYOPs.
Okay.
And one of the things that we did was we got giant speaker systems and we had tanks recorded. And so we would put these speaker systems all over the battlefield,
Right.
and we would turn them on. So it sounded like tanks were coming, and then we would broadcast tank stuff over the radio. Over.
Right.
So they would pick up this chatter, and they would hear these tanks rumbling in the background, and everybody went on high alert. And then nothing happened, and then calmed down.
And then,
And then the next day, same thing.
Right.
And again, until they stopped reacting
Right.
to
And
the
then-
craziness.
and then boom.
And then when it really happened, they're like, guys, it's just a thing again. And
Yep.
it wasn't.
Right.
We hit them.
Like
That's
a
how you
fire
get
drill in
like
an
a fire
apartment
drill.
building.
Like a
Yeah.
fire drill.
Just
But
like,
that one guy keeps making popcorn.
Right.
And like, come on, Kevin.
You
I'm talking.
keep
You
burning
stop this.
popcorn. Stop it.
And so when you have these things, and I know that they're terrifying, but I think we should take them seriously every time. And I don't want people to become lackadaisical or become jaded or inured by these things that come out. And it was like, it was a false alarm. They don't know how to Twitter.
Right.
Like, that's why
Let me ask you this,
these
though.
things would happen. Yes.
So, if you had, if say that was a real, tweet or alert or whatever, what would you do with your last 10 minutes?
So, number one.
Besides get your iodine and your batteries.
Yeah,
and,
no,
like-
taking it, popping it, doing 3 things. Bogey 10-9er, I'm on my route. Over. So there's actually a list of fallout shelters in my neighborhood.
Okay.
I know where they are. I know how to get in.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna have to break some windows, but if they say 38 minutes,
Right.
I'm breaking a window.
Gotcha.
You want to get down as low as possible. You want to get inside of a basement, a bunker. If you are out driving someplace,
Right.
even getting in like a ditch or a culvert, like crawl under like an overpass or whatever, the lower that you can get, the better it is.
Yeah, that's what I hear. But do you really think that's going to matter in a nuclear, that's my thing. People were saying that they were in bathtubs. I'm like, listen, it ain't going to work out for you. Put on something on Netflix and chill.
There are two ways
and
that you
just-
die from a nuclear. There are two ways that you die really quick. I did a lot of research on this because
Yeah,
there are two ways that you die from nuclear war.
Okay.
Number one, the thermal blast hits, boom, it's just like a bunch of heat. That's why
Right.
things. If you're in front of like a building, if you're in like a very densely populated thing, a lot of those buildings are going to absorb a lot of that instant heat.
True.
Second thing is that the shock wave that hits you is gonna punch you. That's what it throws cars over.
Okay.
Okay. Best thing you want to do. That's why you want to get low and get right up against like a brick wall or whatever. You will get thrown. You'll get thrown
Right.
into where you're
We're
already
there,
punched
right,
in,
yeah,
like
so it's
a,
like a hug.
like a
Right.
a scrum.
Right.
In a rugby.
Right, yeah.
We're here and we push, but
Right.
you're not getting like thrown across the room. If you can do that, get down low. After the initial blast happens, assuming that it is not like 1,000 kiloton bomb,
Right.
assuming I don't believe that they're that good. Okay, North Korea, I'm still challenging you. I don't believe that you're at the echelon of the king
Yeah, I hear
bomb,
you.
but there are things that they recommend that you do, and I think it's good to be in practice,
Right.
even if it just gives you a false sense of security.
Yeah, and I think
to
that's
know
what we're
you
dealing
do.
with. I mean, a lot of false sense of security, but you want to be proactive. That's the thing. You feel like I got to do something.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to lay here and die. So, we'll see. I'm choosing to just kind of be nonchalant.
You gonna pour yourself another glass of wine?
Yeah, and just hope that it works out. And but last
this is
thing,
a
and
fake
then
one.
I'm actually gonna hold my news stories to the end because I really want to give
Okay.
Ricky Vaughn an opportunity to talk about his platform because I'm passionate about the same things that he is. We talked yesterday about education, and I was late for a meeting, and he was, and we were like, listen, we need to shut up because we can do this like all day long. So I can't wait for him to get up here so we can move. And he's got a meeting that he's got to get to in Baltimore, just out there still doing good work. So I want to bump him up. But before that, I want to ask you and Jacob, our fabulous engineer, a question. This is our table topics. Here we go. All right. Jacob, you got a mic?
Okay, I'm here.
All right. Ivan, if you had multiple personalities.
I do.
What would they be?
Okay, so there is 3 personalities. Personality number
Listen,
1
man, just
is the
tell
smart
us about one.
Personality number 2 is the like paranoid one,
Mm-hmm.
and personality number 3 is just this like childlike messiah that just walks around going, I I see the answers to the universe. Walking around.
I want to tell you, that's actually how you are all the time.
Those are my three things. Yeah, they just bounce between each other.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Jacob?
Well, if you're asking me, I would say the two polar opposites of my personality already are like tranquility and talking things out and really like trying to not push any buttons and do all that. The other side is just total anarchy and trying to get in fights and getting really drunk.
Do you try to get in fights?
When I'm really drunk.
I was going to say, so alcohol is a factor.
Yeah,
like,
so
okay.
I would say there's
Dr.
definitely two
Jekyll and Mr.
personalities
Hyde
there.
over
Yeah.
So somewhere, like
Shot
a
of
hippie
vodka
side
and
and a
Fight
punk
Club.
side, you know?
All right, cool. We're going to ask
The
Ricky
best part
this
of it,
question
I'm
also.
interested in what a future senator would say
I know.
about his multiple personalities.
Yeah, we're going to get him up here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to break. Actually, we have a video, I think, Jacob, from Ricky. It's a little 30-second break. We'll do that. And then pay some more bills with PCA, Positive Coaching Alliance. And then we'll be right back. So we will be joined here by Ricky Vaughn right after these messages. 36 Nation Radio. Don't go anywhere.
I am People Before Party, Ricky Vaughn, running for U.S. Senator for Maryland. So what's the deal? Weed is the seed we need to succeed. Just like Colorado, schools, education, and infrastructure, and lower taxes for marijuana profits. Consider the medical benefits of marijuana. No seizures for our children, and elimination of cancer for the elderly. It's time to do away with the old and enter the new. I am Ricky Vaughn, your next U.S. Senator. I am.
Come on, hustle. Get your head in the game. Come on.
Are you setting the right example for your kids?
Are you even trying? The ball's down there. What are you doing? You need to get some confidence.
Come on, hustle up, get up there.
Reviewing last year, ad revenue has declined 15%.
Come on, get your head on straight.
Your child's next game, ask yourself, how would you like it if they copied your behavior?
There are many ways which we can improve.
That's for sure. You need to get some confidence.
Positive Coaching Alliance has valuable tips and tools to help our kids perform their best while keeping sports enjoyable for everyone. Their development zone is a great resource for parents like us. Positive Coaching Alliance, creating better athletes, better people. Learn more at positivecoach.org/Fox Sports.
I love how USAA gives me the peace of mind and the security just like the Marines did. At one point I did change to a different company with car insurance and I was not happy with the customer service. We have switched back over and we feel like we're back home now.
The process through USAA is so effortless that you feel like you're a part of the family.
I love that I can pass a membership to my children and that they can be protected. We're the Williams family and we're USAA members for life.
Call USAA today to talk about your insurance needs.
All right, we are back. I put on glasses. They have no lenses, but I did that because, people that wear glasses are smarter, and I'm sitting here next to the next U.S. Senator, so I figured, see?
Put mine on.
Okay.
They're not even prescription.
They're not
even prescription.
Well, at least you have lenses.
I'm going to put a jacket on.
There you go.
What personality am I sitting next to that person?
This is the paranoid political one. You be careful.
So now, this is the SMART segment, also known as our Community Spotlight segment. And this is Ricky Vaughn, who's running for U.S. Senate seat. Mr. Vaughn, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having
taking
me.
time out of your very busy schedule. I am so excited that you are here. I think you are going to be wonderful for Maryland. And one of the things that I really liked about when I was reading about your story is that you have a bit of a past that people would normally try to keep quiet or shy away from, and boom, right on the website, you ran, full speed ahead with that. And I think it's so great to get that out, especially for our young people, especially for our young men, because you are you talk about a complete turnaround. Like, let's walk through your bio. And we used to read people's bios here, and I thought, that's a little like, I like talking to the person more. So tell us about yourself, where you grew up, and we'll get to that little mishap that you had.
Sure. Well, one, thank you for having me. Born and raised in Maryland, in Baltimore.
Yeah.
East Baltimore. So when I got a little older, I moved to West Baltimore. But, you're right. I put it all out there. One of my mentors taught me long ago to let your test be your testimony. And so, I will put it out there because I know folks going to be researching and Googling and all that. I said, no, let me put it out there so that way when you come to me, the paranoid politician, have that research done. I can go ahead and answer the questions that's out there. I don't believe that, I have a saying, don't let your history dictate your destiny. So if you've gone through some things in your life, then use that as a opportunity or a chance to share with others about how you can turn and make that a positive. So.
And when reading your thing, what happened though in your mindset at the time? Because you had both parents were involved in your life. From what I was able to understand and read, your parents were working people. Seemed like you guys were, upper middle class or lower middle class. The middle class is low anyway. This is something we call ourselves to feel better. But right? And yet and still, you left high school to go out into the streets. What in the entire hell were you thinking?
I think
what's your daddy say?
Well, I'm surprised I'm sitting on this stool.
Right.
I'm really sitting on one cheek.
Right.
It's one of those.
Our dads know each other.
Yeah. But it's one of those you want to grow up too quick. And I had I have a loving family who allowed me to grow up. They said, get out. So, when I dropped out of high school in the 11th grade, I went home and I told my mom and my dad, and they said, oh, you're a big man. You dropped out of school. And so, as my mom, she's a very funny, strong black woman. And as I was saying that, she was just walking around with a little bag and putting stuff in it. And, she was like, well, your suitcase is at the door, but I put some cookies in there for you.
Oh, she packed you up.
Yeah, she packed it up. And so, as a child, you call that bluff.
Right.
You're like, you can't do that. That's against the law.
Right.
So, but I learned, I learned 18 months later, living in an abandoned apartment, that it wasn't against the law.
Wow.
And so, but it was one of those, you learn, you live, you learn. And I went back home and said, I'm sorry. And my mom and, mom and dad both welcomed me back in. But the beauty about it that a lot of folks didn't know was they still was looking out for me. They knew exactly. I was living in Bannon. I'm like, now that shit.
Let me, right.
You gonna let me live that? They knew where I were. They would actually ride by just to make sure I was, out there and standing and all that. So they were still loving and supportive even while I was going through my little, I call it my trials.
Then you got a job at McDonald's.
Yes.
And literally rose through the ranks of McDonald's. Like, I want you to tell people where you started at McDonald's and where you ended.
I started McDonald's at 14, playing with kids, hitting me with balls and throwing cake at me. And I still know where you at, Derek. You was 7, but I'm gonna find you.
We looking for Derek.
So 14 years old, couldn't do much, and when I turned 16 and was able to go behind the counter, I thought that was a promotion. I was like, all right, I'm able to go behind the counter now. And became one of the youngest store managers at 18. Ran a $2.4 million store then. Was promoted to a young supervisor at the age of 20. And then I became a vice president of operations for a franchisee at 25.
Wow. And then left that.
Went to work for a brand called Burger Rim. I became their CEO. Or was hired as their CEO to set systems up and change the culture of the company.
Okay.
It's based out of California, but they're up and growing, international and domestic. And decided that I wanted to leave that.
Right.
And become a business owner of my own.
Okay.
So
You got in the restaurant business? Isn't that one of the hardest businesses?
I break it down into the 5 Ps. I'm gonna write a book one day and hopefully become a billionaire. People, product, processes, planning equals profitability. It's hard because of the people side of it. But a lot of folks that believe it's hard because of that, it's probably not the right business for them.
Right.
If you have that people connection, it becomes it's not even
play.
a job.
Right.
I have fun. I enjoy working with my employees, and we don't even call them employees, and we call it family. I enjoy working with my family.
Okay.
Giving them an opportunity to provide for their families while I'm providing for mine.
So things were going well.
Yes.
And then I'm going to turn this over to Ivan when we get more political. This is Ivan's thing. Excuse me. So things were going well, and then you decide, after all this success, turn your life around, that you want to get into politics. What's wrong with you?
You know, it's you know, I you know, my platform is kind of simple. It was, you know, 2 years ago, my wife and I started, actually my fiance at that time, but we, you know, she said, why are you always complaining about what's happening in politics? And you talk about, you know, speak up or shut up. And I'm like, you can't say that. We engaged.
Right.
And so she reminded me that, you know, you always talk about change and you have to be the changer. So, you know, we went back and forth. We were looking at what office to really run for. And finally, you know, last year I said, you know what, I'm going to claim the next United States Senate seat in Maryland.
All right. So. And there we are. Ivan, come on.
All right.
Come on. Come on, Ivan.
I'm going to let the ponies out slowly, but they might start galloping. So, let me ask you just a few questions. Why? What do you want to, just tell me about you from a political standpoint. We know about you as your biography, but the U.S. Senate is the #1 most important and powerful deliberative body on the history of the planet. This is the Senate.
Yeah.
Why are you walking into the halls of power, and what do you want to do?
So I would always answer that question with why not? We have not been represented in the U.S. Senate for a long time. We've had certain individuals such as, of course, number 44, the Honorable President Barack Obama. And we've also, now we have Cory Booker, who I believe is doing a awesome job as well.
Absolutely.
But, you know, the millennials are not, it's kind of like this. You invite us to the house, but you tell us to stand outside. So we don't have that voice. You know, a lot of the laws that are passed that impact us, we're not involved in it. I call it phony, fake, corrupt elected officials. I'm a registered Democrat, but I believe people before party. If a Republican comes to the table with a good idea, so be it. Democrat, so be it. Black, white, male, female, doesn't matter. But we have to now be involved in what decisions or the processes that impacts us and our communities. And so that's really why I said, you know what, let me put my name in a hat for U.S. Senate.
If we're talking about things that impact my community, right? I know Mayor Bowser. She is doing things that affect me, like daily. I'm gonna pay that ticket, I swear.
No, I got two. Don't boot me. Just
for a parking ticket. I don't on a Sunday. I don't even know. Whatever.
$75
a
piece.
You have things that impact us directly.
Yes.
But then you have the United States House of Representatives, which the congressional districts are directly connected to their constituency, right? The Senate, though, you represent an entire state.
Yes.
It is the least representative of the representative bodies, right? President, we're all coming out, we vote for him. Supposedly, it is the most people who vote for you and you become president. Math, we're gonna work on it. But in the Senate, like, you could be from Rhode Island and have, 4,000 people vote for you, and suddenly you become senator of Rhode Island with equal power to the senator of New York. Like, the Senate is this very esoteric and powerful body. And so I'm very nervous with the people who are there, but I am not comforted yet by anybody that I see coming into that position, because we had an entire wave in 2016 of people who said, we're stuck with these politicians, let's get a business owner in here. And so they did. And then before that, we're like, we're sick of old school money, let's get somebody new. And we just keep being angry at the system. But a solution out of that, like, I dream about solutions all day, every day. But I think it needs to go very slowly and very specifically. And so I want to vote for you.
It needs to be sincere. We don't have most elected officials, and I say most elected officials are for themselves.
Okay.
Period. And, I'll say that until the day I stop breathing. They get in office and they put their primary agendas before those they serve. And to serve, it's a privilege. They have to be sincere about it. You can't, for example, I like to tell folks, you can't go to Washington and talk about homeless when you've never been homeless or you've never spoken to someone who has been homeless.
Correct.
You know, we send elected officials to, or we vote elected officials in, and they go to the establishment or they go to office believing they know everything.
Right.
And they don't want to sit down and listen. My first campaign manager was a Republican from Alabama. So you know, it's one of those until
The
you
deep
are,
guy.
the deep-
Through his blood.
until you're really able to sit down at a table and really say, you know what, it's not about me. It's about who I represent. That's what I'm bringing to Washington. That's what I'm bringing, or I want to represent Marylanders, is that different perspective of unity, the perspective of love, because we got too much hate going on in politics right now. And that's why nothing is being done or
right.
getting done.
Yeah. It's a pause.
And it's all about, you know, again, if it doesn't benefit my office or it benefits my campaign, then I'm not going to get involved. But as soon as something nationally hit the news, such as school systems with no heat in it or a lady being put out of the hospital, then every elected official want to come down with a camera and a 5-page speech because now it's headline news and they can put it on their website.
Yeah,
but
Let's talk specifically, Ricky. What are some of the things that you're passionate about, and that if people vote for you, they can hold you accountable and say,
The big
okay,
four.
Ricky said I'm going to do this, and that's why I'm going to vote for you. What are those things?
economic development,
Okay.
my passion for business, social justice, affordable housing, and I would say the fourth one, education reform.
Okay.
You know, affordable care is one, but you know, I would say education reform. We have a huge opportunity in Maryland to revamp our education system.
And you want to do that. I mean, this is controversial, I guess. You want to do that by legalizing marijuana.
Yes.
And you talk about
Talk
that.
this plan. What just happened? We took a left education, and then suddenly we're back in the weeds.
Right.
All right.
You want to use the weed money to buy books.
Yes.
Okay, talk to us about this.
You know, I'm not going to say
America.
unfortunately. We need.
It's full.
we need we got to be realistic. You know, in order to do so much that you want to do, whether good heart, bad heart, whatever case may be, you got to finance. You got to have that money. You know, when we really looked at it, when my campaign really looked at it, and we said, you know what, we got books that are missing pages. You know, how do we you can't go. I was in Baltimore City Public School,
right.
So you can't go from page 7
Until
to
you
15
until you decide to leave.
Well, you
But
still,
go ahead.
yeah, until I decided to leave. This was the early part of it. But when you go from page 7 to 15, and you're kind of like, is this how the book is supposed to be,
Right.
or what? But you got to be able to pay for it. We got a lot of roads in Maryland. I mean, I ride motorcycles, and my bike, is actually in the garage now because the bottom of it actually scraped. So a lot of things that we want to do in Maryland, that we can do in Maryland, we do need the finances for it. I believe, one, the legalization of marijuana is not only going to support the education system, help support social justice, but it's also going to, it ties into all four when it comes to the platform.
Right.
When it talks about economic development, I mean, we followed the study of Colorado, of course, now what's happening in California, and it actually was a job creator. So, and it's an opportunity to put the money back in the community. When you talk about that connection with the community, what better way than to be able to employ and provide funding and funds for education and some other things.
Right. Okay.
Talk to me one more dive into this thing. You mentioned affordable housing.
Yes.
As from a Senate standpoint, what does that look? Are you talking about let's do massive infrastructure things? Let's bring back Hoovervilles all over America. What does affordable housing look like from a national perspective?
When we looked at it, it's the United States have money. But we continue to play the role and play the game as there's no money out there, and we got to raise taxes, and we got to do this. We're looking at ways of how you can allocate or reallocate funds to go to states to help better housing. When you talk about homeless issue, when you talk about, in Maryland, one of the blocks that I grew up in, it's nothing now but 11 abandoned houses. And when you talk about the crime rate, we got young ladies being abused in those abandoned houses, individuals going in there doing things that they shouldn't be doing, illegal activity. We're looking at how can we reallocate funds from the federal government, put it back into the states, clean up those neighborhoods, allow a young man, young woman coming out of college, early, young family member to go in and purchase a home. That's giving back to your community. Is staying in your community, and is also helping with the, looking at when you're riding down blocks, all these houses falling down and boarded up. So
you bring up a point. I shared with you my story when the nonprofit, when we purchased several houses in Baltimore, and we weren't robbed. We were literally moved out. They broke in and took everything. You get robbed, somebody takes and we were setting these homes up for homeless teenagers in the area, and I guess the downfall was that we didn't tell the right people that that's what we're doing in the neighborhood, right? I should have had better dialogue with the guys that were running the block. And I should. And when I say move out, those of you that know the story, we didn't get robbed. When people get robbed, you come home, your TV's gone or something. They moved us out. They took the toilet paper off the toilet paper roll. They took all the forks out, all the canned good items out of the shelves. I mean, they moved us. There wasn't, it's like, you don't live here no more, type stuff. And I noticed that Baltimore, I was reading an article about 3 or 4 weeks ago about them bringing back the dollar housing program, where they sell the home for $1 to try to get people to live back in these homes and revitalize the area and the neighborhood. And you have to live there, so you can't just have a bunch of people, flipping them. But you have to live there for 2 years, something like that. My thing is, what are we going to do about the crime? And what do you think, specifically Baltimore? I know you're running, you have to cover the whole state, but specifically Baltimore, because I don't care if they gave me the house. Ain't nobody going up there. I can't live there and get up, leave my house, go to work, feel safe. So
hoping you come back to a home.
Right. So there seems like there's some other steps that need to be done before we can even approach this housing. What are we going to do about the crime and the drugs that are happening there? And do you have some plans to solve that?
It goes back. It ties into my platform or the campaign's platform. I don't like to say I. One thing, even with the legalization of marijuana, Baltimore City Police are actually down about 2,000 officers. And a lot of those individuals that have applied that was disqualified, they had something on their record such as marijuana, or one of the questions asked is, have you smoked marijuana for the last 2 years? And if you mark yes, then you're disqualified. So you can't say police a city and give back to the community when those in the city and in the community are disqualified for every opportunity or potential opportunity that's out there. Okay. As a business owner in Maryland, one of the states that I do business in is of course my home state.
Sure.
And my restaurant, one of my restaurants was broken into, and I'm like, darn, you got $7
right.
off the register, but it cost me $900 to do repairs.
Right. Right.
So, I would have literally wrote you a check for $50 just not to break in my restaurant. I'm like,
right.
and we sell soul food, so I'm like, I know the food good.
Okay,
so,
right, yeah.
But learn from the mafia, kids.
Seriously.
Protection racket is how you do it, not armed. Come on.
But when I guess there's two answers to that question. One, you allow young men, young women become homeowners, get involved in the community, be able to employ young men, young women in the community with the police department, but also going back to the old school. We had neighborhood watch,
right.
neighborhood associations. Every Saturday, I didn't appreciate it then, but every Saturday I'm out there picking up trash. My mom said, you're going to go out there and pick up the trash. But with that, you had every neighbor looking out for us.
Right.
What they say, it takes a village to raise a child. If we picked up a rock and we was about to throw rocks, it was,
somebody,
I'm gonna call your mother later on, right? So,
right.
We need that. But Maryland and Baltimore
and
in
people
particular.
are scared. You say something to somebody now, put the rock down, they shoot you.
Well, it depends, and we need to stand up and speak out.
Right.
I would tell someone in a heartbeat, put that rock down. I might say it,
right.
from a distance, I might,
Like this. Put that rock down.
I might be kind of, one
Don't be
foot
doing
this
that.
way, but I will say something.
Right.
And it's crazy. You mentioned the crime rate in Maryland. Unfortunately, I lost my brother last year. In September, we were about to open up our first independent restaurant, and my brother was murdered in September 2nd.
Sorry to hear that. Wow.
And so, it's one of those.
Is the case solved?
The case is solved, as they say, but it's solved by a gentleman that was killed himself. And 3 months later, all of a sudden, this guy is gone and the case is closed, and he was the one that did it.
Right.
So, I just didn't understand,
Right.
well, it happened in September, but in November.
Yeah.
I was like, high five.
Right. Way to go.
Job.
Right.
So, it seemed.
Sprinkle some crack on him, Johnson.
Jeez, right. Gosh.
Another job well done.
It seemed like it was solved for the benefit of others,
Sure.
and not for my family.
Family, right?
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Listen, let's change the pace here. We could have you back, I imagine, for an entire show. We got Jonathan. I know, and he's got a meeting too that I promised him he would be able to get to. So what we're gonna do is, as we get closer to voting time, we'll have you back several times. If you want to come back once a month until it's time to, we can definitely do that. I believe in what you're trying to do, especially for Maryland, specifically in Baltimore. We need, new blood and change. So I appreciate that. Let me just ask you one last question. Okay. Your restaurant, do you sell crabs? Because I need
crab cakes.
I
Not
need
crabs,
to crab
but if I can say one thing, I tell folks all the time, when we're not involved in the political process, we can't complain about what's going on.
Very true.
So this movement is what one of the young men is saying. It's a movement. This movement is about getting young folks involved in the political process, to stay involved in the political process, and to get on ballots and become elected officials. So, I tell, it's out there. We just got to go get it. Everyone's been telling me, you're too young, you can't do it. But Dr. MLK was 33 when he launched his movement. We have Bakari Sellers, who a congressman who, 21 years old, jumped into politics. So it can be done, but we got to unite. We got to have that voice together.
What can people do for you? Give your social media. How can they donate, reach out to you? Where are you? Tell everybody.
Prayer. So one is going to be prayer. Definitely pray for us. You can go on our website, rickyvaughn.com. You can donate. You can volunteer. You can get involved. We have committees within the campaign. You can get involved in one of the committees. Help us structure. I'm not an advocate or saying I'm out there and I know everything about what needs to be done. But I believe Maryland is intelligent and smart enough that united we can come up with solutions and we can figure it out. So I have a quote that I just wrote at 2:00 the other day. In the morning. And so it says, we will continue to fall in solitary if we fail to stand in unity. So that was also because I got in the house late and my wife told me to go downstairs. So, but I said I'm campaigning. Right. So, but we can definitely do this. We can definitely keep this movement going. And we can definitely make a change in Maryland and in the United States.
All right.
And I thank you two for what you guys are doing as well.
Senator Vaughn, I'm going to hold your feet to the
go.
fire.
That's right. I like that.
Accountability.
Senator Vaughn.
Accountability.
3-6 Nation, get behind this guy. This is Senator Vaughn. We are claiming it. He's not a candidate. This is Senator Vaughn. You heard it first here on 3-6 Nation.
If you need to reach him and complain, you can find him online.
Yes.
Yeah.
RickyVaughn.com. The number is out there. 24 hours, 7 days a week. Someone is literally live to answer the phone.
Boom.
And he means that. I mean, we started texting. It was like 4:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the morning, and I wrote over there. He responded on LinkedIn. So I'm looking forward to a partnership throughout the years, especially that we're gonna have some juice now.
I'm so excited.
Oh, we so fancy here on 3-6 Nation. Look here, we're gonna be back. Jacob, we need a quick commercial. I think we've got Jonathan Rivers coming to the phone next, and that's it. So it's 3-6 Nation Radio. We'll get Jonathan on the phone.
He's got a book.
Yes, he's got a book we're going to talk about. And Senator Vaughn, good luck in that traffic. Thank you for coming, and we are behind you 100%.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you.
Take
Thanks,
care.
sir.
We'll be right back. 3-6 Nation Radio. Don't go anywhere.
It's about respect. Respect for our teammates, respect for our fans, and respect for our game.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. On this team, we're a family.
Racist, sexist, and homophobic language have no place on our team.
We pledge to make our locker room a safe place for everyone.
No matter your race, religion, or whether you are straight or gay, if you can play, you can play.
Here at Lucky's, we see things differently and we invite you to do the same. With a visual thrill of 8 high-definition screens measuring 6 feet by 8 feet, complemented by an additional 15 HD TV plasma screens at 50 inches, you won't miss a beat, play, or pitch. That's over 50 million pixels of rich high-definition action, allowing you to immerse yourself in a sports experience like no other. While you're here, if it's your appetite that needs satisfying, feast on a meal that only Lucky's can create. Prepared daily, our fresh and diverse selection of dishes are assured to please the most difficult critic. And if that's not enough, try hitting our 3,000 square foot game room and jump full tilt into the latest and greatest interactive experiences. Track your gameplay every time you return, and you can also earn exclusive Lucky's rewards. All this entertainment is backed by a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience, which is why you'll soon understand that Lucky's is more than just luck. Be sure to visit Lucky's Sports Theater at 7027 Manchester Boulevard in Alexandria, Virginia.
Thought about launching a broadcasting career? Think you have what it takes to become a broadcasting professional? Learn the skills that will make people want to tune in. Join Monica Livingston, radio personality and owner of 36 Nation, for a career development workshop on what it takes to be a radio DJ, sportscaster, and news anchor. Find out how the former DC diva and owner of 36 Nation manages her own live internet radio show. Sign up for a workshop today, where Monica doesn't just share broadcasting tools. She puts you on the air.
That was refreshing.
You know what? It was nice to have a senator in the studio.
I know. We get. I'm telling you, we about to blow up.
It's how we should do.
This
It's
is
how
what
we
we
do.
be doing. We got famous kind of people in here, and we also have Jonathan Rivers on the phone. I'm sorry, that was wrong. Jonathan Bam Rivers on the phone. Jonathan, you there?
I'm here.
How are you, brother?
I'm blessed, ma'am. How you doing?
I can't complain. We got a good looking picture of you standing here. With this is the cover of the book Rivers Logic.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about this book, Jonathan. What's it going to do for me? I buy it. What's your logic? Talk to me.
Well, and I love you said it that way, because that's exactly what it is. It's Rivers Logic. It's life through my eyes. It's life through the eyes of an individual who has been through a lot in life, but has chosen not to let life make me a victim, but rather make me a victor. So the book will talk to you a lot about how to become a participator in life rather than a spectator. You know, I've come across so many individuals that have been content with just being on the sideline when it comes to their life, being on the sideline when it comes to their purpose. And, you know, the one thing I want to tell people is God did not intend for anybody to lack anything. He came to give us life and give us life more abundantly, but we can't sit back and wait on it. So it teaches us how to be more of a participator. You know, you also talk about servant leadership. Because if you ever want to become a leader in your community, in this world, or what have you, you first must learn how to serve, and serve with a gracious heart. Not serve out of obligation, because that's not service, that's slavery. If you're doing something for somebody because they're forcing you to, you're a slave to the individual. So we are servants because we desire to make other people better before we do for ourselves. So it talks about service and things of that nature.
I know that's right. It's like every time Jonathan talks, I feel like it should be an organ behind it. Somebody going,
Do you remember?
Yes, Jonathan, yes.
Now, there it is. Jonathan. Mr. Rivers, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
It sounds to me, when I hear you speak, it sounds like you have had an incredible journey yourself.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you share, because I don't know, like you tell me that the logic helps you do these things. How did you get here? What's the story? Like, how did you come?
Absolutely. Well, just being raised by a single mother, being abandoned by my father when I was younger, dealing with sexual abuse outside of the family, and being in multiple, life-threatening car accidents, car catching on fire, getting railroaded, things of that nature. And ultimately, I'm here as a motivational speaker and an author of my new book because I remember getting laid off from my previous employer, the University of Phoenix, back in 2014. And I applied for 40 jobs after that and received 40 no's. So I was batting 40 for 40. And, with a bachelor's degree and with a master's degree, I continue to hear the phrase, well, thank you, but you're not what we're looking for. And in that moment, I realized that I was not being told no to anyone's organization. I was simply being told yes to my purpose. Right. And my purpose was to change this world through speaking, encouraging, and enlightening. And as much as I want to spread my message, I have to realize that if I put my message on pen to pad, put it in a book, continue to help spread my message, then it will reach more people. And that's what I'm here to do. So I'm here to travel the world, do whatever I can to serve people, and not for me to be on their minds. I tell people all the time, my job is not for you to remember necessarily who I am. It's for you to realize who you are.
That's right.
So once you realize who you are and whom you've been called to be, then everything will be the way it's supposed to be. And then you will be able to literally leave an impact and set trends in this life that can leave lasting legacies for not only you, but for those that come after you.
I love that. Listen, Jonathan, my apologies. We got to cut this short. This is my fault because I booked two phenomenal guests back to back, knowing that Ivan and I would want to just talk and talk and talk. And it's almost time for our favorite show, After Hours, Thursday Night Tea with Anthony. And he missed his cue. I said Thursday Night Tea with... Yeah, he's there it is. Okay. So what I want to do, Jonathan, I want to give you an opportunity in 30 seconds. Tell people how to get the book, how to get in contact with you, and please, please, please come back next week because I'm going to get a copy of the book before next week, and then we can dive into the book a little more in detail. Are you willing to do that next week with me if I get the book?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
And listen, I don't care if it's 30 seconds or 30 minutes. You got to take advantage of the opportunity when you have it. So if you want to pre-order the book, Rivers Logic, Living Your Purpose Through Personal Development, you can go to www.riverslogicbook.com. Again, you can go to www.riverslogicbook.com to pre-order your copy. You can follow me on Twitter at JBamRivers, on Instagram at JBamRivers. Go to my YouTube channel, Jonathan Rivers, Facebook, Jonathan Rivers Motivational Speaker. Connect with me. I'm here to change lives through speaking and enlightenment and encouragement, and I really appreciate the opportunity. 3-6 Nation, you guys are awesome.
I mean, he had that ready, didn't he?
That was a tag. I don't have to say nothing now.
Yeah, like you just did your own commercial, bro. Like he acted real cool about it too. Like, how will you get in contact? Such and such, and then it was like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Not the first time you've done that. Hey, Jonathan, I love you. I miss you. Can't wait to TI next year when we get back out to Cali together. Let's talk before next week. I'm gonna get the book. Thank you for coming on. We'll have you back next week. Ivan, I think we did this today.
3-6 Nation, you are my lover, true and true.
And
I'll see you next Thursday.
What just happened? I don't even have anything else to say. Jacob, please go to commercial or something. Bye, people. God damn.